Why did the Pharisees, doctors of the law, and other Jewish religious leaders of that time not recognize Jesus as the Messiah and the Son of God? In the time of Jesus, the Jews had diverse messianic expectations rooted in interpretations of the Old Testament. Many anticipated a military and political Messiah who would liberate Israel from Roman oppression. Jesus' vision as a spiritual and redeeming Messiah did not align with these earthly expectations. Our expectations about God can sometimes blind us to recognizing Him. Therefore, humility and docility to be open to the fact that God should not fulfill my expectations, but I should align myself with what He reveals, whether through His Word, sacred tradition, or the magisterium of the Church. Religious leaders of the time, including the Pharisees, had established political and religious interests threatened by Jesus' message and actions. Their concern for maintaining the religious and social status quo might have influenced their resistance to accepting Jesus as the Messiah. Do we have any interest in keeping everything exactly as we want it? In various gospel passages, Jesus accuses the Pharisees of having eyes that do not see and ears that do not hear. Matthew 13:13. This spiritual blindness is interpreted as obstinate resistance to recognizing the spiritual truth of Jesus due to their commitment to their own traditions and religious systems. Could this happen to us? Are we open to God's reforms? The Pharisees and other religious leaders had significant theological differences with Jesus' teachings, especially in areas like the law and the interpretation of scriptures. These differences contributed to their inability to accept Jesus as the promised Messiah. They knew the law but did not understand it and were not able to submit to divine interpretation. If some did not submit to God, will we be able to submit to the legitimate successor of Peter, who is human? The arrival of Jesus challenged existing structures and required a significant change in the understanding and practice of faith. Resistance to change, coupled with the perceived threat to their authority, might have led many religious leaders to reject Jesus. Possibly the most determining factor in this case. Hardness of heart is the greatest evil that the Lord reproaches to His people throughout history. This was the greatest evil that the Pharisees had, who did not want good to be done to sinners, pagans, or even on the Sabbath. Can we blind ourselves to the mercy of God? Can we focus more on precepts that order religious life than on love for our neighbor? Can we desire a God more just than merciful? Harden not your hearts.